another minute or two to get logged in. Just a couple quick updates before we get started. If you do have any questions for any of our guests, please utilize the raise hand feature to get your question in the queue. If there are several questions there in the queue, we ask you please limit your questions to one initial question. If we've got additional time, please feel free to re-raise your hand. We'll work our way back to get additional questions answered. Please wait to be acknowledged prior to asking your questions, and please ensure that your lines are actively muted unless you are asking a question. I'm going to pause here for a few seconds, and when we return, we'll be joined by Swac Commissioner Dr. Charles McClelland. Thank you for your patience. All right, once again, thank you to everyone for taking time to join us for our Swac Football Championship media session. With that being said, we're happy to be joined by Commissioner McClelland with the Southwestern Athletic Conference. Good morning, Commissioner.
Good morning, Andrew, and good morning to all that have joined us on the call. Another exciting year of SWAC football. I'd like to say congratulations to the Western Division champion, Prairie A&M University, and the Eastern Division, Jackson State University. Looking for an exciting football game this Saturday, and I will open it up for questions.
Appreciate those opening comments, Commissioner. We'll open it up for questions. First question goes to Wilton Jackson.
Good morning, Commissioner. How you doing?
Good morning, Mr. Jackson. How are you?
I'm doing good. My question for you is, with both divisions essentially the conference champions ending with 7-1 conference records, what does this say about this year's parity and the trajectory and the competitive depth of the SWAC football season, or just the SWAC football in general?
You know, we're excited about the continued growth and competitiveness of SWAC football. You know, part of what we wanted was for our teams to play a very competitive schedule, but also, you know, when we brought in Florida A&M and Bethune-Cookman University, we left it at an 8-game schedule, which takes 3 of those schools off, which obviously there are some really good rivals on those off games, and you're starting to see more and more schools play those games. So you get a true competitive feel throughout, you know, the conference. So, you know, both teams 7-1. You have to say hats off to Alabama State. They were right there, you know, as well. There are several teams that did not necessarily reach the 500 mark, but, you know, when you add up 7 points here, 3 points there, they could have very well won those ball games. So SWAC is a very tough league. You got to have to be ready, you know, week in and week out, and to be able to rise and elevate. 7-1, both of those teams coming in, you know, it says that they have had an outstanding season, but also have had the ability to be able to overcome a lot of adversity.
This question goes to James Hill.
Hey, good morning, Commissioner. How are you, sir?
I'm fine, Mr. Hill. How are you?
I'm blessed. Can you talk a little bit about SWAC TV so far, what you see in terms of the audience, the opportunities there, and just the growth potential with that particular product?
I think SWAC TV is limitless. You know, we put some of those numbers out, and I know all of you reported on all those numbers. We're very excited as to where we are with SWAC TV. Like I said last week in New Orleans, you know, the future is here. The future is SWAC TV. It gives us the ability to showcase our programs on our terms. We have a wonderful relationship with ESPN. We have a wonderful relationship with HBCU Go. And all 3 of those entities tied together sets us above, in my opinion, any other FCS conference or HBCU conference, because we're able to produce and to deliver to our fans high quality, high production SWAC, everything, all things. And as we continue to grow, as we continue to expand, we put out our basketball schedule, quite a few basketball games there. We're going to ultimately have every SWAC event, whether that's basketball, football, baseball, tennis, soccer, you name it. We have to get there. We have to continue to grow. But you referenced, where's this thing headed? It's headed to have all 2,000 plus of our sporting events on some form of television, whether that's ESPN, HBCU Go, or SWAC TV.
Thank you, sir. Have a blessed week.
Thank you.
Question goes to Perry Daniels.
Good morning, Commissioner.
Morning, Perry. How are you?
I'm super fantastic, sir. Good to see you.
Super fantastic. I'm going to write that down.
Absolutely.
I like that.
Doc, I'm wondering about the FCS landscape. This year, we have an Alabama State team that, only lost 2 games on the season, played UAB, really competitive, and fell a yard short against Jackson State. These type of teams coming out of the SWAC appear like they can compete for the national championship on the FCS level if given that opportunity. How important is that to the conference to have a conference member compete in football on the national scale?
Well, the first thing that I would say is we do compete on a national scale in the Celebration Bowl. It's a bowl game. It's all of our opportunities to be able to show on that national scale. The Southwestern Athletic Conference, kind of mirrors itself more as a FBS conference when it comes to football than an FCS conference by virtue of our winner goes to the Celebration Bowl. So first and foremost, that is our priority. But a team such as Alabama State, we felt deserved to be in the FCS playoffs. We felt that they did enough to garner an at-large opportunity. There are a couple of caveats to that. One is that they participated in the Turkey Day Classic, which is after the selection, right? So that would mean that they would have to strategically give up Turkey Day Classic. Southern University and Grambling State University obviously is in that category, and any team that plays, such as FAMU and Mississippi Valley State, as they had to move that game back, because of the issues that they had at the beginning, forfeited the opportunity to participate. But part of what we're going to have to look at and what we're going to have to do is not necessarily what Alabama State did. It goes back to what our other institutions did, right? And when you start to look at the matrix, certain programs are going to have to schedule a different way. So when you look at the strength of our conference compared to playing in the FCS playoffs, there are going to have to be some out-of-conference games that we're going to have to take a look at strategically. When we play non-Division ones, those games do not count. Some teams have played non-Division ones that even the stats didn't count. Those games hurt teams like Alabama State, because when you look at Alabama State beating a team in the conference, and that school in that conference has a game that is a non-Division one game, it ultimately hurts Alabama State chances to get in. We're going to take a look at that. That's something that's on our agenda to talk about as we move forward on strategic scheduling to be able to assist teams that probably should deserve and probably could get in, but we're going to have to shore some things up conference-wide to ensure that the matrix point favorably in order for those teams to get in.
Thank you, Commissioner.
This question goes to Dwayne Nash.
Good afternoon, Commissioner. Dwayne Nash from the Yard HBCU Sports and Hero Sports. How are you today?
Afternoon, Mr. Nash. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. There's a belief by some that attendance or the lack thereof at home games may have an effect on potential television deals. Since 2018, the percentage of attendance versus the stadium's capacity for title games for the SWAC has taken a dip over the past 2 years. Is there any concern about the attendance? Does these attendance numbers actually affect the league's potential of getting broadcast deals? And does it truly matter because there's a chance that the conference may move the conference games over to SWAC TV?
No, no, and no.
Thank you for answering those questions, Commissioner.
You're welcome.
All right.
This question goes to Dr. Cavill.
This is Kenyatta Cavill. Dr. Cavill's inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Good morning, Commissioner.
Good morning, Dr. Bill.
My question was about postseason play, not necessarily the FCS tournament as a component of that, because I clearly understood what you provided us there. But what would be the strengths, weakness, opportunities, and threats, or just advantages and challenges with adding a additional postseason game or another bowl game?
Well, as you know, we had to get special legislation done in order for the Celebration Bowl to occur. And adding any additional bowl games, that would have to occur. Now, if I had my wish, we would play in multiple bowl games.
Okay.
The FCS playoffs is a national tournament for FCS teams, but the national recognition, the television opportunities, and the bowl payouts is ultimately what we are most interested in. You know, there's a huge disparity even in FCS. You have some FCS programs that have $40 and $50 million budgets participating in the FCS playoffs, and you have some that are less than 8. So there's still a huge disparity, and you know, the overall level of participation really comes down to the financial resources. So if there is a FCS championship and one of our teams qualify, we want to be considered. We want to be able to play. I take a look at, you know, the outstanding season that Tennessee State had last year under Eddie George. And you look at the draw that they had, right? They had to go way away from home, played in the cold weather, and in my opinion, wasn't a really good draw for Tennessee State. You know, if that's what's going to happen to one of our teams, I would very much rather participate in a bowl game and be able to get that national recognition. It really comes down to what opportunities are available. Now, behind the scenes, we are working very diligently to help expand those opportunities, not just for the Southwestern Athletic Conference, but overall. But again, it's not legislated, it's not allowed at this point in time. But if I had my wish, I would like to participate in multiple bowl games.
Thank you for that framework and the clarification as well.
Sure.
Have a good one.
This question goes to Charles Bishop.
Good morning, Commissioner. How are you doing?
Morning, Charles. How are you?
Doing well. Charles Bishop, Dr. Cavill is inside the HBCU Sports Lab. And I wanted to follow up on a question with regards to the strategic vision of the conference. And I wanted to ask, is it a continued strength, despite the success of the Swac championship game, to continue in the current East versus West format, or is there an opportunity in regards to an all-division format?
Yeah, I was waiting for that question, Charles. I didn't anticipate you would be the one asking. But we have that on our agenda to talk. I think from a conference office standpoint, again, our responsibility is to put together a championship. If the membership decides to go to no divisions, we will work that schedule and we will put it out. But I would also say that there are pros and cons. What we don't want is what is happening in the Mountain West. No divisions, and you have to go to computer rankings to figure out who goes to the championship game. I saw a lot of the media reports, talked to a lot of people after Alabama State lost to Jackson State and saying, if you go to no divisions, then the true number 1 and the number 2 team will play. Not necessarily. The only way that you can guarantee the number 1 team and the number 2 team plays in the SWAC championship with no divisions is if every team plays each other. There's always going to be an imbalance of scheduling because you only have 8 games. Just, you know, if you take certain schedules and you can look at it, there could be a possibility that a team did not play the top 3 teams in the conference. They might have had a better record, but not necessarily have been the better team. The last thing that I want to do in the conference office is to flip a coin or go to some alternate form to determine who plays in the SWAC championship game. right now under divisions, it is guaranteed that it will be determined on the field. I do not want to be in the office trying to either flip a coin or go to some matrix to determine who are the top two teams out of 3 or 4 teams that are tied and all had not played each other. So that is for the conference to debate and to decide, the conference membership. We will go under that exercise. But the one thing that I would like to stress, Charles, that I heard repeatedly is that going to no divisions will guarantee the top 2 teams will play. That is not correct. The only guarantee for the top 2 teams to play is if every team plays each other. And you can look at multiple conferences, whether it's the Mountain West and several FBS conferences. It is not a guarantee that the top 2 teams will play. And I think that's been evident from probably around week 7, where there's, you look at the ACC, you look at, again, several of those conferences. So we'll take a look at it. But the one thing that I would stand on as commissioner is I don't want to be the person to determine who goes. It should be determined on the field.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Last question goes to Donald Ware.
Good morning, Commissioner. How you doing?
Good morning, Donald.
So with respect, how does the SWAC try to balance both, games after the selection committee has made its determination in terms of trying to get into the FCS playoffs? Because, I mean, if you look back over the years, especially when Grambling and Southern were good, there was no way that they were going to play in a postseason FCS game because of the Bayou classes. So really you have 3 teams, Alabama State, Grambling, and then Southern, that are kind of in this predicament. And then also, if Alabama State were in the running for the FCS playoffs, would Alabama State have considered not playing in the Turkey Day classes?
So I can't answer the Alabama State question. And quite frankly, the balance for the conference office is that it's an institutional decision. We don't force those teams to play after the cutoff date. That has been their choice, right? So if Alabama State chose to participate in the FCS playoffs, they would have had to make a decision as to whether or not they want to, go to the Turkey Day Classic. They did not get to the point to get that, to have to make that decision. But the conference office does not force that upon any institution. That is an institutional decision, and we support that decision. I would think that you have to look at risk versus reward. Southern University, Grambling State University, playing on Thanksgiving, 52 years, they've made that decision. National TV, national audience, bring in hundreds of millions of dollars worth of, opportunity, eyeballs, revenue possibilities by playing that game. They'll have to weigh that to going to participate in the FCS playoffs. Have not talked to their leadership, but I can surmise that collectively they would take those couple of hundred of millions of dollars of opportunities and value that they generate for both institutions, and they weigh that against playing in the FCS playoffs, and they've chosen 52 years in a row to play in the Bayou Classic on Thanksgiving Saturday.
Okay. Does that, but that also affects the SWAC in some respects, right? In terms of representation in the FCS playoffs.
No, our number one goal is to send our best team to the Celebration Bowl. That is our focus. That is our goal. And if a team decides that they would rather play in a classic and generate revenue versus go participate in the FCS playoffs, that has no negative impact on the SWAC at all.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Commissioner, we sincerely appreciate your time. We hope you have a great rest of your day.
No problem. Thank you, and looking forward to seeing everyone at the championship.
Yes, sir. Thank you. All right, we now move forward to Prairie View A&M and Coach Jackson. Once again, if you do have questions, please utilize the raise your hand feature to get your question in the queue. Please limit your questions to one initial question. If we've got additional time, allotted in our coaches' availability, we'll work our way back to get additional questions answered. With that being said, happy to be joined by Coach Jackson with Prairie A&M. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning. How are you?
Doing great, Coach. And as always, we appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to join us. If you could just start us out with an opening statement previewing the upcoming matchup.
Yeah, first and foremost, we're really excited to be participating in this moment. It's a lot going on here at Prairie A&M. Signing day is in 2 days. We finished the season the right way. We've got a lot of great commitments out there from a recruiting standpoint. And it's just really a good time to be on the heel and especially participating in this week where we know, we're the last 2 teams standing in our conference, and we're getting ourselves prepared to play a really great opponent. Certainly look forward to heading that way, but we certainly got a lot of work to do before we get to that point.
Appreciate those opening comments, Coach. First question goes to Charles Bishop.
Good morning, Coach.
Good morning.
Charles Bishop, Dr. Cavill is inside the HBC Sports Lab. And I want to ask this question. Over the last 3 games, or since the loss to Alabama State, your offense is averaging a whopping 54 points per game. Has there been a change schematically, or is it just a maturation of the quarterbacks within your system?
Yeah, I think it's just been us finding our groove. We knew it was always there, but we've been working to get there for a while. It's no secret that we had our issues early on, but I think our players have done a really good job of taking what people give us, and then our coaches have done a really good job of trying not to out-scheme ourselves and just go and do what our players do well. And so it's a combination of both from a schematic standpoint and guys hitting the groove, but we've always thought that talent was there to be able to score, and lately we've been able to take advantage of some things that people have played. And I thought we did that against Alabama State as well in the first half, and we just didn't finish the job. So it's tough sometimes because you have to learn some lessons that you don't want to learn. And I thought the Alabama State loss for us was necessary at that time for us to grow. And I think you've seen some growth since then, and hopefully you continue to see it.
Sure thing. Appreciate you, Coach.
This question goes to Doc Holliday.
Doc Holliday, HBC Overdrive. How you doing today, Coach?
Doing good.
All right. You made me out a believer. You did say you're going to get to this point right here when you first came into the game. But I want to ask you a question as far as with the maturation of Cam Peters. What do you see in him that you were able to say that he's going to be our starter permanently for the rest of the season?
Yeah, I've said this before with Cam. Here, not just with Cam, but here at Prairie A&M, we've had to teach people how to win while trying to win, and that's a tough process. And so players are no different. And Cam had some success really early, had some bumps in the road, and he figured out a way to smooth them out, and then he won the job back. And so he's always given us a great chance to throw the football. He's a good passer. He can do some things with his legs. And so, he won the job coming out of camp. But I think what you have to do with young people is we live in this society where, people watch TV and see how people do it in the SEC and string things along. That ain't real life. And what we have to do in our program, what we choose to do in our program, is teach real life lessons. Man, if you tripping, you don't get a chance. There's a consequence to that. And so you don't judge a man by the mistakes he makes. You judge him by how he recovers. And one thing that young man has done is he's recovered thus far. And so when he made his mistakes, we took care of it in-house, and he's come back better. And I appreciate him for that. And I know he's appreciative to the program for that. And hopefully he has a chance to write his story.
All right. Thank you, Coach. Appreciate for that. See you this weekend.
Yes, sir.
This question goes to James Hill.
Hey, Coach, I hope you and everybody there on campus are well. The all-time series versus Jackson is 36, 37. It's basically even by a game. But talk a little bit about what this year's Jackson State team, what they look like so far, what you see, and the opportunity to go in and compete for the Swac championship.
Yeah, we don't get too caught up in all-time series and things. A lot of our guys weren't even alive when Jackson State and Prairie View and them were having battles back in the day. And here's what we know. We haven't played Jackson State University since 2021. When you cut the tape on, you can tell they're the defending national champ. They've got really good players everywhere. They're well coached. It is what you expect to see when you get to this point. And so, you know, we don't really know. Film can tell you so much, but until we get there and until we start playing, we won't really know, right? We believe what we see. We can see the numbers very clearly. They're a really talented football team, but we got to play, and our guys got to play. And so we just got to make sure we continue to prepare our guys in the right manner to get ready for a really good football team, which I think our staff has done all season. Excuse me, we said this early on. Prairie View A&M football is in no place to be looking forward to or looking past anybody. So every week we've had to make sure that we treated everybody the same with the same respect because people have scholarships, NIL money, and good coaches. People have that. And so now that we're at this point, we know that they have that. And so we look forward to getting out on that grass, man, and kind of seeing what it is. And our guys are going to have to play their best game because it's a championship game. And so we earn the right to be here, but our guys will have to earn the right to hold up the trophy at the end of the game, and we look forward to the challenge.
All right, Coach. Have a blessed week.
You too.
This question goes to Perry Daniels.
Good morning, Coach.
Good morning.
Coach, let's talk about your defense. Right now, you are ranked #1 in all of FCS in passing yards allowed with 125 yards per game allowed against you. Team passing efficiency, you're second in the nation. And total defense, you're third amongst all FCS schools. Talk about this defense and when you realize that this group could be special.
Yeah, we still don't know if they're special or not. We just continue to plug along. Here's what I'll say about our defense. I'm really proud of those guys and the way that they come to work. They're a no-name defense. And what I mean by that is I doubt anybody votes anybody on that defense all conference. They're not household names. They're just guys that come to work and do what we tell them to do. And for that, I'm forever grateful to them. But we talk about in our program, we're not going to know what we are until the end. And this is not the end. And so we're here. We'll assess that. We'll figure that out. And I think you might have asked me that once before. And I'm just trying to be as real with you as I can. We don't sit around and look at statistics. We just look at film and try to put together the very best plan we can against that offense that for that very week. And these no-name guys that we have that, again, probably won't be voted all conference because they're not flashy like a lot of people like. These guys will be able to sit back one day and say, hey, man, we had one of the better defenses that Prairie View A&M has ever had, if that's what it ends up being. But certainly proud of their work and their effort, and we'll figure out whether we were any good or not when the end comes.
Appreciate that, Coach. Allowing us to see the process. That's awesome. Good luck to you this week.
Thank you.
This question goes to Wilton Jackson.
Good morning, Coach. How you doing?
Good morning.
So my question is this. Not very many teams have been able to truly run the ball against Jackson State. Obviously, there have been several, but not very many. You have two capable running backs. The ones that most people will remember or think about is McDowell and Chase Beamon. How important will it be to get them going in this game and basically manipulating like Jackson State's front seven?
Yeah, I think anytime you're playing championship football, you want to run the ball. The coach is going to get on here and say the same thing. You want to be able to run the football. There's a lot of rain in the forecast. I don't know if that's for Saturday or not, but it might be a wet surface. That you want to be able to pound the football if you can. And so it's one of those deals with us. We believe we got here because of the way we have the ability to run the football. But when people load the box up, you have to throw the box back open. And so if everybody's playing with loaded boxes, somebody's going to throw the ball because we're just hitting our head up against the wall thinking we're going to run against 8 and 9-man fronts, right? And so we got to be ready to do both. But certainly in a championship season, you want to be able to run the football at a high level. It establishes dominance. It establishes physicality. It establishes winning. And so I bet both teams will be willing and wanting to run the football because that's what championship football is.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
This question goes to Terrence Harris.
Hey, Coach, how you doing?
Good.
Hey, I want to talk to you a little bit about Trevor Randall and just kind of and can you talk about what he's meant to your defense and how you've seen him grow in this year that you've worked with him?
Yeah, he's one of the hardest working young men in our program. He came in January and fit right in, and one of the guys on our leadership council that does things the right way, about to get a master's degree. And I think what he does off the field is a carryover and direct reflection of what he does on the field. So we're really excited that he's in our program. He's a Greenwood, Mississippi guy. So he gets a chance to go back home in front of all his family and play. We look forward to him playing one of his better games.
Thanks, Coach.
Got time for 2 final questions. First one goes to Ernest Riggs.
Hey, Coach, how you doing?
Good morning.
Good morning. Coach, I've got a chance to see you really do your thing on X and on Twitter and engage with the fan base in those spaces. I wanted to know from you, do you feel like you've seen the fruits of your labor in engaging the fan base and getting to the games and finding that support from your fans?
Yeah, not probably as much as I would want, but man, I don't get anything from people coming to the game. There's no clauses in my contract that says I get X, Y, and Z for people coming to a game. I want people to come to the game to support these young men and women in our program because I think they've earned the right to be supported. And so I think with anything, when you're new, it's kind of like buying a car. You go out and you look at the car first and think about buying it, and then you get the note and you kind of say, I might not do it. And then the following year, when that car breaks down or when you finally make a decision, you go and buy a car. Well, I think our fans, hopefully next season, they'll make a decision and we'll know soon when season tickets go on sale whether they like our product of football or not. It's my job to come in here and tell you what we're going to do because we believe in what we do. And so far, we've done what we said we were going to do. And hopefully our fans now show up and start buying season tickets and support more. But the people that did come, we're forever indebted to them. Our student body did a phenomenal job of showing up to football games this season. And so we look forward to continuing to build on that. But I don't go to social media to get people to come to the game for any other reason than supporting our people. And we've got a beautiful stadium that people sweat, bled, and paid a lot of money for in student fees. We should fill it up. And so we'll continue to harp on that. But we're going to continue to put this great brand of football out as we can because that's what we came here to do.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Last question goes to Jason Bristol.
Morning, Tremaine. Forgive me if you've answered this before, but I know you've talked a lot about getting to this point. How often is it mentioned within the program to the kids? Is it daily? Is it weekly? Is it on a board? And because you've gotten to this point with these kids, do you have to, I guess, give them a sense of, are they ready for meeting this moment? Do you think they're ready to meet this moment at this point?
Yeah, Jason, I will tell you, we go over our blueprint every single day. And on our blueprint, under foundational goals and objectives, number 3 is consistently compete for championships. That's where we want to be. That's why we came here. For some people, when we got here, this was new. This is not new to our staff. We've been playing in December for a long time. The D2 National Championship is after the Celebration Bowl. So we've been doing this for a long time. And so we came here to consistently compete for championships. And then number 4 is representing respect Prairie A&M University in the right manner. And that's another big deal in that we want to do. So I don't think the moment is too big. Our program is pressure. We put these guys in really high pressure situations internally so that when we do get to situations that require pressure or pressure is being applied, that we don't allow it to be applied to us. We apply it back to it. And so we got to see if that works. But we've done everything under the sun since January to make sure guys were ready for these moments. And when you're playing a really good football team, a championship caliber team, you don't have time to wait till you get to them to see how your guys react. You got to kind of put them through the fire a little bit before. And so we've done some things internally to get them ready for that. For us, man, it's just one of those deals where we got to go out and play the way we've been playing. If we tackle well, if we can run the football, we can throw the football, not turn it over, then we should have a good Prairie View A&M Panther day. If we turn the ball over, not going to go well. And so that's the pressure. The pressure is internally on us. When we get to the game, I don't think you'll see guys that are nervous. I think you'll see guys that are eager, and we like to have them eager.
As always, appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Coach, as always, we appreciate your time throughout the duration of this season, and we look forward to speaking to you again on Saturday.
Thank you. Go Panthers.
Yes, sir. Thank you. All right, we're now over to Jackson State, and Coach Taylor, once again, questions, please utilize the raise your hand feature to get your question in the queue. With that being said, happy to be joined by Coach Taylor with Jackson State. Good morning, Coach.
Hey, good morning. How's everybody doing?
Doing great, Coach. And as always, we appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to join us. If you could, start us out with an opening statement previewing the upcoming matchup.
It's a big matchup this weekend. You talk about the two top teams left in the conference playing for a championship here in Jackson, Mississippi. We look forward to the challenge. A really good football team we'll be facing in Prairie View A&M, well coached, loads of talent on in all phases of the game for their program. So, we got to bring our A game, but we've been coming off a great break, Thanksgiving break, had 2 great practices so far, and we'll finish the week and get ready for the weekend.
Appreciate those opening comments, Coach. First question goes to Charles Bishop.
How you doing, Coach?
What's up, Chuck? How you doing?
Doing well. I wanted to ask the obvious question in regards to Jacoby Morgan's health and whether he will be available. And then the follow-up question to that is, based on his availability, is it an opportunity or a dilemma to have 2 capable quarterbacks who've won for you ready to go this weekend?
Definitely to the last part of the question. Anytime you can have 2 guys that's played as well as Jacobian has played this year and Jared Lockhart, the true freshman, has played, that's a luxury for any program to have going into a game of this magnitude. We're still in the evaluation process with Jacoby. That was a serious deal with the, with the injury that he sustained. I'm leaving that up to our training staff and the doctors, to continue to rehab him, get him going in the right direction. But at the same time, we'll do a good job of protecting the young man. If he's able to go, we'll get him on the football field. And practice is important. If he can get out there and move around and practice, understand the plan that we have going into this game, go out there and execute it, and he looks healthy, we'll put him into play. But, I'm leaving that totally up to our training staff and our doctors here at Jackson State.
Appreciate that, Coach.
Thank you.
This question goes to Doc Holliday.
Coach TC, how you doing today?
I'm good, Doc. How are you?
I'm doing good. Again, like you said, after the Alabama State game, you told us that the Swac runs through Jackson, Mississippi. But going into the game, you have a 1,000-yard rushing in Ahmad Miller. As far as with his health and everything, is he good to go? And all the running backs that are in the room right now?
Yeah, Ahmad is healthy. He's had a great year, has had a phenomenal year. Let me say that. He's been healthy this year. I think that's the one plus for him, why you've seen such great production for that young man. I'm so proud of him. Last couple years, he's been, plagued with a couple injuries and things of that matter on the football field. But you just seen what a healthy Ahmad Miller means to this JSU program. But all guys are ready to go. We got a few guys in there we believe in that room that can run the ball well. When you play Jackson State, we're going to run the football. With that's our identity. We want to run the football, and they'll be ready to go this weekend.
Appreciate you, Coach. See you this weekend.
All right, thank you.
This question goes to James Hill.
Hey, Coach, I hope you and everyone in Jackson are well. Can you just talk a little bit about what you see from Prairie View on tape so far, and just also just how important it is to play Jackson football with the history, the tradition, and it comes down to, one game at a time. But what do you see?
Very sound football team. I think as a staff, and including myself as head coach, the first thing we look at when we're watching an opponent, how sound are they on in all 3 phases. They're a well-coached program in all 3 phases. When you talk about special teams, defensively, they're elite. They rank right there in the top of all FCS statistics. Defensively, offensively, they are scoring a ton of points right now. They got some really good players. Coach Jackson has done a great job of coming there and getting those prototypical type guys. They got length, they got size, the weight on those guys. They run around and they believe in him. They come out and play 4 quarters of football in each and every game. They have a quarterback. Anytime you want to be playing, you have opportunity to play for a championship. You have to take a serious look at that position. And they got a guy that can run and throw the football around. They got some guys can catch it. So, we got to be on our A game come this weekend, because that's a really good football team over there, and they're hitting strides at the right time.
All right, Coach, have a blessed week and success on Saturday.
Thank you.
Question goes to Perry Daniels.
Good morning, Coach.
Good morning. How you doing, Perry?
I'm doing super fantastic, Coach. Coach, let's talk about, this has become an old hat for you, playing in this game. Let's talk about the advantages of playing it in front of the JSU Tiger faithful. And if you could, winning this game this week sets up a rematch of last year's national championship game. So if you could talk about the advantages of it being at home, and then the comforts of possibly taking on a foe that you took on last year next week.
Yeah, we got to get through this one first. Prairie View is no slouch. This is a great program, a great, well-run football team. I'm not going to even speak on next week till we got a football game we got to play here. That's very important. It's a Swac championship. You talk about the two top teams in the Swac conference right now that are still standing, so we got to get through 4 quarters of football with a very solid football team there. But we always talked about it. That was one of our goals as a program, to host a Swac championship. And our football team, went out there and executed this, the schedule we had in hand in order to host a Swac championship game. And I'm proud of them for it. Our fans are going to show up. They've done that all year, whether we've been on the road or we right here in the vet, they're going to show up, and it's going to be noise. It's going to be a great atmosphere. Might be a little rain in the forecast this weekend, but I guarantee you that they'll still be there. So we look forward to it. That was one of our goals coming into this season, and we got that accomplished.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck to you this week.
Thank you.
This question goes to Brandon King.
Oh, there we go. Sorry about that. Good morning, Coach. How you doing?
I'm good. How you doing?
Pretty good. Doing well. Brandon King with Dr. Bill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab and SneakerShopTalk.com. Wanted to ask you, obviously you've built or your program is definitely a championship caliber program, played in so many of these big games, the big moments and things of that nature. Can you talk about how having that big game experience, the championship experience, if you will, plays into games like this, weeks like this, in terms of game preparation and getting your guys ready so those moments are not too big for them?
Yeah, great question. I think a lot of those, when you're getting ready for these type of moments, you already kind of lived a lot of those moments during the season, the schedule that we just come out of. We had some tight games. We had some games we've been up on people, and we had some nail biters. And those kind of games, when you find ways to win games like that throughout your schedule, it gets you ready for this moment. It battle tests your team. And I think that's where our team is now. We've been battle tested, throughout the schedule. We played in some great games. We had some blowouts. So, we've been in some nail biters. And it just gets you ready for championship football. This is an entirely new roster. You do have some guys coming back from last year's team, but last year was last year. This is a new roster. We got some new guys with new goals for this football team, with, some new coaches on the staff and everything. So it's a totally different look this year. This is the 2025 Swac championship. We're not, still holding on to 2024. We're getting ready for 2025 Swac championship against a good football team, like I said earlier. But the schedule that we went through this season, it has us battle tested for a game like this weekend. So it's going to be a great football game.
Thanks for that insight, Coach, and good luck.
Thank you.
This question goes to Jason Bristol.
Morning, Coach Taylor. Jason Bristol from KHOU TV in Houston. Coach Jackson made some pretty bold predictions when he was hired in January, mentioning about winning the SWAC and winning the Celebration Bowl. He prefaced it by saying some people are going to use this as bulletin board material. Will you use that as bulletin board material heading into this game?
I mean, we have our own goal set here as a program, you know, regardless of what coach has said or anything like that. But it's no difference when I first took the job here at Jackson State. You know, those were some things that, you know, I emphasized as goals that we wanted to do. You know, wanted to win a Swac championship, wanted to win the East Division championship. We would be playing in the Celebration Bowl. I think any coach taking over a program should have those goals and ambitions, and they just get contagious to the players. And you've seen it that it has been effective to his team and everybody in that building. But, you know, that's the mindset of each and every coach is in the SWAC. I guarantee you, they're telling their team, they're telling the media that they want that, you know, they'll be playing for a SWAC division championship, conference championship, and a Celebration Bowl. But, you know, that's goals that we set at the beginning of the year, you know, for our program. Again, what I'm talking about now, you know, our goal was to win the East. We've done that part. Now we got to go out here and take care of the SWAC, you know, the overall conference championship game coming this weekend. And that's what it's all about now.
This question goes to Doc. This question goes to Doc Holliday.
Coach Taylor, I wanted to ask you about special teams in regards to Geraldo Baeza, G baby. What are the things we try to do as far as getting his confidence back into play, as far as, you know, missed field goals and stuff like that? What was the things you try to do to try to get his confidence back up throughout the season and for this game right here?
He got to keep kicking. That's his job. He's our place kicker. You know, he was a preseason all-conference selection, and I told him once he got that award that's just you know, going off people's thoughts. You hadn't played this season. You got to go out there and do it. And I think the main thing is just putting confidence back into him. Continue to be positive with him as a young man. Not turning my back on him, but that's his job. You know, and that's what I told him. We're going to continue to put you out there because that's what you're here to do, is kick and make field goals. And, you know, he's been better. You know, this last game he came out and really did some good stuff for us. And, you know, he'll carry that into this game. But you just have to stay positive with these place kickers and things like this. A lot of pressure on those guys when they go out there on the football field, you know, and the way they operate on a day-to-day basis, not a lot of people talk to them. You know, that's, you know, the only people they really interact with a lot of times other kickers and long snappers. But, you know, we just continue to tell them that we have confidence and we believe in them as a program.
Appreciate it, Coach.
No problem.
Last question goes to Wayne Cartwright.
Coach T.C. Taylor, how are you, sir?
Good, Wayne. I was wondering if I was going to hear from you today.
Yeah, I'm here. So, Coach, how much say do you have with your senior leadership? How much have you leaned on them through this entire week of preparation leading up to this matchup?
You know, you kind of like, you try to let your seniors have a voice in everything you do in your program, you know, but making sure you have to monitor and making sure they're saying the right things. You know, I talk to those guys a lot, those upperclassmen guys, or those seniors that you're talking about, but making sure they present the message the right way when you do give them the opportunity to speak to the team. And, you know, you want these younger guys to understand this is what it's all about, because they'll be seniors one day too. So you want to send them out on the right note. But I lean on them quite a bit. You know, I tell them they have to set the tone in practice. They have to set the tone in the games, you know, because they have been around here for a long time, you know. But I can't say this. I'm proud of all those guys. All of them will be getting degrees, you know, graduating, and they've done it the right way and really been great ambassadors of Jackson State University.
All right, Coach. So my analytics stat from yesterday, 200 yards. When you guys rush for more than 200 yards, you guys are 8-0 this year. Good luck on Saturday, and we'll talk going forward.
Thank you. Appreciate you, Wayne.
Coach, as always, we appreciate your time throughout the duration of this season. We look forward to speaking to you again on Saturday.
All right. Thank you, guys. Appreciate y'all.
Thank you. This concludes our SWAC Football Championship Media Session. Once again, all SWAC Football Media Sessions are digitally archived on SWAC TV and the SWAC Digital Network. Thank you for your participation. Have a great day.